Ash Anvil in Gardner, Kansas. It's Bourbon Bros KC.
Well, here we go. We live?
I don't know. Are we live? I don't see
Hey.
it. Hey! Hey! Bourbon Bros KC here. We are live at Ash Anvil in Gardner, Kansas. We are back.
And we're running a little late, but we had a last-minute awesome change.
We did.
You know, we had to add a third chair in. Miguel Schoedel.
Miguel Schoedel,
Miguel Schoedel, VP of Sales with Crown Heads.
VP of Sales of Crown Heads, Oz Family Cigars. I've been with that family for 25 years.
Nice, nice. He walked through the door 3 minutes before we were going to go live, and we said, "Well, let's include
do
you.
it.
Let's do it.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Running a little late, but it's worth it."
So no, we weren't changing clothes, except maybe the shirt made me look fat, but I think you're okay, right?
Sir, you look slim and you look fabulous. If I
You're
so
lying.
say
You're
myself.
lying. So no, here we are. We're Tuesday night, our normal stream, and we, got a lot of people on here. We sure do appreciate you jumping on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's we kind of have an agenda tonight. We'll follow, but we're gonna last week. I don't even know what week anymore. Bourbon Bros, Derek, Heath, and I, we were down to Kentucky. We were down in Kentucky, so a lot of tonight was just going to be about what's going on in the next week. But we're again, we punted a little bit, so we're adding some content. It doesn't get any better than that, right?
No.
This is how it works. So again, Nick and Brennan might have been stressed out a little bit, but the show goes on.
Miguel,
So,
thank you for joining us.
You guys, thank you for welcoming me on, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love whenever we can talk good spirits, good cigars with people all around the world. I mean, back in the day in the 90s when I got in the business, this wasn't possible.
Right.
And the fact that we are now going to smoke and drink with people all over the country, you ain't got to twist my arm.
Oh, no, it's pretty awesome. Before I go into talking about stuff, let's go ahead and light up this cigar. What are we smoking tonight?
All right, gentlemen, today I have brought you the Jericho Hill. Jericho Hill is a cigar that we have had on the market since, I want to say, about 2014.
Okay.
This is the new packaging, so it's the new band, if you will. The old band looked very different, but the packaging has been upgraded. This is made by Don Pepin at the My Father's Cigar Factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. The wrapper is Mexican San Andreas Grade A, 100% Nicaraguan filler, Nicaraguan binder. It's a trunk or box press, depending on the verbiage. And it's just a beautiful, rich, medium strength, but full flavored cigar.
Nice. This is one, I've carried Crown Head since I first opened a little over 4 years ago. And this is a cigar that we've had on the shelf since day one.
Yes.
So it's one that I
Thank
believe
you.
in.
Really?
You need a cutter?
Yeah, I do. Well,
I
Nick,
pinched mine.
I got an awesome Crown Heads cutter here.
Look at this.
Oh,
look at this.
okay, I got it.
I think they call that
cutter.
product placement.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, this is super cool. I got to learn how to use.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that.
Crown Heads is a brand that I believe in. It's a brand that I've carried, since we opened. And in fact, it was one of the brands that I went heavy on even before I opened, as I was ordering and getting products in. Now, Dave Payne, if you've been in my shop, or you've been around shops around the Midwest, Dave Payne, and he was my rep at that time, and he was awesome, man.
Dave is an old friend of mine. Just what a fun guy. When I hired him in the business, it was his first repping job, and from that day till now, I love the guy. He makes me laugh all the time. He's always in a good mood. Just a fun guy. I got to see him be from a single guy to having a kid, getting married, through a couple different companies, and he's really found a great place in this business.
Yep. He's got a good spot now. It's been cool to watch him go through this journey because, I mean, he's been in it longer than I have. I don't know how long he's been in the industry, but just watching what he's been going through and how he's been growing. In the short period of time that I've known him.
It was pretty awesome.
Then Danny was my rep, and Danny, what's his position in the company now?
Danny, I knew Danny a long time, hung out with Danny. He worked at a shop as a GM, and then he wanted to rep for us. He had always helped us out at the warehouse and stuff.
Yeah.
So we had one position open. So we moved to Wisconsin, took over this territory, did a phenomenal job, and we had an opening back in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I think he was a little homesick.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "Do you think I could go back to Nashville? His sister's there, and his nieces and nephews." I said, "Absolutely." So Danny is there. Danny is one of the great young guys in his business. He looks like younger than he really is. I swear to you, we feed him. I know he's really skinny and bony. And then now we have Gio
Now we
here,
got Gio.
who's an old buddy of mine. Gio
Yep.
and I've known each other a long time, and I think Gio, from managing cigar shops, his next progression was he wanted to get into repping side. So we have a great team, good
Yeah.
people. I mean, the industry is just full of good people. When you can find good people, doesn't matter if they continue to work for you, for other people, change territory, whatever it is, they're lifelong friends.
Absolutely.
And you will always have the cigar that bonds you together, you
Right.
know?
That's kind of what drew me into cigars.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and light this up.
All right.
Do you do cold draw, and are you one that tastes all these weird notes? And
Yeah,
stuff
so,
like that?
what I like
Wow.
to do is when I cut the cigar, I like to put the cigar in my mouth, and I like to do a cold draw.
Mhm.
I think on a cold draw, the thing that you can pick out is usually the spice level,
Yep.
right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, by doing a dry draw if you're going to get a good draw or
Good
not
draw.
in the cigar. A great thing about Pepin is the quality is usually impeccable.
Yep.
So you're always going to have a good draw. But if you do a cold draw on this, you do taste a little bit of spice.
Mhm.
And that comes from, I think, that combination of Esteli, Nicaragua with that Mexican San Andreas. You get this beautiful, almost Mexican spice on the palate. And then obviously lighting it up, you get just incredible aromas, that earthy, leathery note,
Yeah.
coffee-like notes. And I will tell you, knowing what you guys have here, the cigar has the body to be able to, what I call, punch with
Mhm.
a really good bourbon or a really good
Good.
scotch. Some cigars can completely be overpowered by it.
Yeah.
Right.
This one will be able to stand up to it.
Yep.
Nice. So again, and you talked about that. We'll pop this in a while. Real quick, just some of the people that join. You see the one comment that I see all the time.
It's been a lot. I forgot my cowboy hat today.
So Derek's kind of that cowboy hat's a staple, right? So yeah, and Rich is. I will tell you, Rich is on. Everyone on here be thinking about sipping with Rich. Some storms in Texas last night took his roof off.
No,
Oh.
So he spent all day today, securing it up a little bit. So Rich, you're in our thoughts, brother, and hope
Yeah.
you got it all dried up, right? Because I think some more storms are coming through. So we just have to call that out. But we got a lot of guys on here from all over. I mean, I know a lot of these guys. They support this channel. They support us, and we've even with our bottle, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when we came out with our bottle, I reached out to these guys, and in an hour, I think half of it was gone. Half the barrel was gone. So
Yeah.
these are good guys, and they know bourbon, and they know cigars,
Yep.
and they're learning cigars. In fact, some of them are going to be here this weekend for an event that we'll talk about in a little bit. So
Yep. I've got a pretty cool event coming up.
yeah, we'll talk about
Nice.
that too. So
Yeah.
now, where are you from? Where's your home base?
So I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
But I've lived for the last 6 years in South Florida. My wife unfortunately moved me to Florida. I'm not to be offend anybody, but Florida's just a little too hot for me.
Yeah.
I always feel like if I was maybe 50 or 75 pounds less and swole, maybe it wouldn't bother me as much. But
Hey, Miguel,
I
you're
have a
swole.
little bit of weight on me.
You're swole.
And that hot weather down, it's just not my thing, man. So, but it makes
Wow.
my wife happy. She's from the Caribbean. She loves that,
Oh, yeah.
so heavy and thick humidity. That's not me. I'm from Cincinnati. I like all the weather. Like, I love your weather right now.
Oh, it's great.
This is perfect. This is cigar or pipe smoking weather.
Yep.
And bourbon and rum drinking weather, because it warms you up from the inside, and a good warm cigar is beautiful.
It's been a kind of a crazy last couple days. We had some big storms come through last night, and I don't know when you came into Kansas City, but
Just this morning.
yeah, we had some pretty powerful storms. And then, while we were at the PCA, there was tornadoes all around us, and the
Yes.
week after the PCA, there was tornadoes all around us, and but we've been.
It's like an action movie here.
It is. It kind of is.
Jeez, you guys.
This weather has been crazy and hasn't stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like no matter where you go, everybody's like, "Oh, just wait 5 minutes. The weather's crazy here," but Kansas, it really is, and I think this is the most like active spring that I remember, at least in the last few years, where there's just been thunderstorms every couple of nights and severe weather all the time. It's been kind of crazy.
I've been here 34 years, and I don't ever remember an active year like this ever in my life.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So,
Yeah. So
well, what are you tasting this cigar?
I did a retro. I get that leathery. I get a little spice. I got the spice even off the cold draw, like you said, right?
Yeah.
But super smooth. I get that again. I get that. It's like almost like a sweet leather, right? It's not. It's
Sweet leather is a big part of the cigar.
Yeah, I picked that up. It's you get that leather sometimes. Derek, I remember earlier episodes when I was even getting into cigars. I couldn't pick up something, but he's like, think about it, Mike, because I'm sure you weren't very good at baseball, and you played right field, so you were just out there picking dandelions, chewing on your glove, right? You chew on that string of your glove, and so that's usually something I can usually pick up.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Or there's certain flavors in cigars that are easier to pick up than others, and leather is one of them. Think of it as like I like Rawlings. I have a Rawlings backpack, and when you first take it out, you get that smack in the face of leather. Or you go to a nice furniture store and they have the leather couches and you can smell it. Leather, chocolate, cocoa, nuttiness, earthiness. Those are flavor characteristics that are very easy to pull out. And I do think that you don't have to chew on a leather string, but you can if so, to understand those flavor components. Now, getting more in depth in the flavors. I mean, I think a lot of us that are in the cigar industry, it can get a little outrageous, right? I mean, I don't have any Cocoa Puffs I'm tasting here, you know what I mean? Or no
Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, Frosted Flakes on this cigar. But I do think the descripting of cigars is a great way to understand what you're smoking and to share with your fellow smokers notes that they may have on the tip of their tongue, but they can't put a word to it. And you kind of help each other out that way. But leather,
for sure.
Sweet leather is definitely part of this.
That's what I get. I guess it's a leather, but it's got a sweetness to it, right? I mean, I definitely get that for sure.
I think palates are we're so easily influenced by what we see and what we hear when we're talking about tasting notes.
Yep.
You said Cocoa Puffs. I'm not saying it's not there.
Yeah.
But you just said it out loud, and I was like, well, okay, I understand what you're saying. It's that chocolatey, it's that sweet, sort of dry cocoa, a little bit of that like bready,
I looked at like the way you described it there was perfect. Like if someone says Cocoa Puffs, I'm like, are you crazy?
Right.
But okay, if you break it down like you just did, you're like, okay, now I can see it.
Right.
But by calling it Cocoa Puffs, you're like, dude, are you cocoa for tasting those things? You know what I mean?
But I mean, when you said it out loud, that was the first time I thought, oh, you're right. I get a little bit of that.
I love Cocoa Puffs, just gonna be but
I think in this cigar what you have is you have some Ligero in here, right?
I can taste
Seco Viso, you're gonna have some Ligero in here. And the Ligero, though, a lot of times people look at it as it is the strongest of the tobaccos. The last tobacco that we pick off the plant as we pick from the bottom up. Volado, Seco, Viso, then at the very top, Ligero is the last leaves that come off the plant. And if you don't ferment Ligero very long, you do get a very spice, kick you in the face, punch you in the face kind of spice to it.
Right.
But if you ferment it properly and you give it its due time in the pilon, then you get a full-flavored, full-bodied tobacco, but it's much more elegant and smooth on the palate, but it still has it. It's just not as aggressive punch. You know what I mean? I describe it as like getting, if it's under fermented, you get punched like Mike Tyson, opposed to where, maybe it's a little softer punch, but you're still getting punched. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where good fermented Ligero, and this cigar, the Garcias do a great job with it.
Yeah.
That they have some Ligero in here, but it's really, really well fermented.
Well, and I was just at the trade show a couple weeks ago, and you were there. And I don't know because you're doing a different job when you're there than I am. When I'm there, I'm sampling as much as I can, smoking as much as I can, meeting with people, ordering, right?
Your palate is getting beaten up.
Your job is quite a bit different while you're at the show. But I know that I smoked some very young tobaccos there. You can taste it. You can taste the ammonia. You can taste that punch. That heavy spice. And everybody talks about like, oh, this is so strong. And a lot of times I don't even think it's really necessarily that strong.
Mhm.
It's just young, and that presents itself as full bodied.
We say that there are things you can fake in a cigar.
Sure.
You can fake sweetness by adding sugar or even sweetened coffee to leaves.
Yep.
You can fake a Maduro by cooking the leaves or even dyeing the
Bruising
leaves.
them or dyeing
Yep.
them. Yep.
You can also fake strength by putting under fermented tobacco
Right.
in a cigar.
Mm.
So if you the problem with Ligero is there's so little Ligero on the plant compared to Seco and Viso that if you're making a strong cigar and you're using real Ligero, there's a lot less of it.
Right.
So then if you're trying to make a strong cigar and you don't have access to that, what's a cheap way to do it? You under ferment Seco, Viso, or Ligero, and you rush it out. And you're right. And you can taste the ammonia. You can taste the things that are not supposed to be there in a well-aged tobacco. That's a great, that to me is when you have taken your palate to another level, when you can pinpoint young tobacco or under fermented tobacco. I think that to me is when you know your palate is like really honed in, you know?
Yeah, I'm working on that. I think I'm getting there, but I can oftentimes, probably not all the time, but oftentimes pull that out, which is
Well, the drinks, the drinking bourbon is just sharpens your palate. Eating variety of different foods and smoking cigars. I mean, it'd be a super taster before you know it.
That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on.
I'm a rookie. Derek's teaching me everything he knows, right? So
yeah.
so we're learning that. So, well, you wanna do a pour? Let's talk about this real quick. And it's kind of funny because a lot of these guys on here
have this bottle.
Yes,
that's awesome.
And multiple of these bottles, right? And a lot of guys on here, like it might get the bourbon. A lot of guys on here have done reviews. They put them on TikTok. They put them on all over. And the Blue Note. The Blue Note has, I think, and there was a review done with it today. The Blue Note has every Blue Note's kind of the same. Blue Note is known for being hot. It's got a lot of spice to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got it's kind of dry on the back, and there's not the complexity is okay, but it's more it's kind of a stronger, right? It's just kind of what they are known for. But when we were doing this pick, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and we did it right behind us, right outside.
Yeah.
We were testing them, and when we got to this one, it was like you were drinking something from a different distillery.
Right.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know. Is Blue Note MGP? So I don't know.
I don't know that.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Sourced or if they're doing their own.
No, I don't know. It doesn't look sourced. It looks like they distill their own, right? So again, I don't know that answer. These guys probably know. Like Frankie said, this one was a cherry, orange, citrus, cinnamon. I mean,
I'm excited.
Wow, that sounds.
So
I'm excited to taste it.
I can talk cigars, fermentation, fields. That's what I've spent my entire life in. But I'd love to hear what you guys, when it came to picking this, like you were talking about, you were trying these different bourbons. Like I find that interesting because I don't know as much about that. Like you got all these different things. And when you tasted it, did you go, yes, that's it? That was
with this one, it was.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that. Well, after we pop this bottle, we'll talk about Derek's, and Heath isn't here tonight, we'll talk about our last week, and we did a lot of that. So we had a lot of training last week, but here's and you can see we put our own sticker on the back, right? Because it's a collaboration, Bourbon Bros, and of course Ash Anvil, right? So again, this is our first one.
We did it in partnership with another local whiskey club called
Kansas City Whiskey Guild.
Oh, very nice.
So,
very nice.
Yeah, but this one was definitely when you're taking the same distillery, but you're just doing from different barrels because they're single barrels. And this one hit. This one hit way different.
Yeah, this was good.
So let's pop her.
Ooh.
Decent pop.
Yeah.
So we'll drink this, and something we do here. When we created this channel, it wasn't just about bourbon because there's a lot of that going on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is, and Derek's part of that is we pair them. So what did the bourbon do to the cigar? What does the cigar do to the bourbon, right? So that's what we've kind of here. Derek, you pour first, bud. Here. Here's a glass. You got a special, very beautiful glass there, right?
Yeah. Go ahead and pour you some.
Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely. Green River. Frankie said, "Oh, this is Green River juice."
All right.
So they do source, but it's not like an MGP. It's Green River, and Green River's a great distillery. I really love their stuff. So.
So it is 120.6 proof. So it is fairly high proof. But
it drinks it drinks 120 proof. Now, not to where it kills you, but it does drink 120 proof.
Green apple, man.
Yep.
Oh no, I love it.
I mean, I'm telling you, Granny Smith.
Oh yeah,
apple,
absolutely,
like,
yeah, for sure. On this note.
unbelievable.
yeah, that's what
I mean, you close your eyes and you smell that, you feel like you're in an orchard.
I
That is beautiful.
I had one of my bartenders who is new to whiskey. Actually, she's new to drinking it, period. She's 21, so
Really new.
very new. And I sampled some of this to her over the weekend. And that's what we talked about. It's like caramel covered green apples.
Oh, you don't get better than that.
It's a little tart,
There is
little
some
sweet.
There's a little tartness in there. Yep.
I get a little bit of like dark cherry on there as well.
Yep, cherry for sure. Look at that. I said that, and the lines came on. Green River, Green River, Green River,
Yeah,
Green
yeah,
River, right? These guys know. That's why I said these guys know. So, and they're the same ones that gave us good reviews.
Yeah.
So we like good reviews.
The citrus is the more
Yes.
my nose is in it, you get the citrus, and I can't tell if it's lemon or lime or
I think I get like lemon zest.
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Here we go. Get that spice, a little spice right up front.
It's
Um,
green apple though.
Yeah, it is. Little cinnamon finish. Excuse me.
There's cinnamon for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I did not get any cinnamon
in the nose.
on the nose.
No.
When I drank it and swallowed it, you definitely get a hit of cinnamon.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that is. I got to tell you, it's not super hot at all.
No, and again, not typical of Blue Note. Blue Note's usually going to be they're kind of known for being really hot. It's got a good hug. It lasts going down. I like the complexity. I picked up a store pick a week before from someone else's a week before ours came out, and they hit completely different.
Yeah.
Hit completely different.
This is really nice, man.
Yeah, isn't that good? I mean, it's.
Wow.
I love. Look again. It's complex, right?
Mhm.
It's not just a normal just throw it back kind of thing. It's definitely a sipper, right? I mean, you don't have to throw a cube with it.
No,
It's not a mixer. It is definitely a sipper.
So, I grew up a rum guy.
Mhm.
I spent time in Nicaragua, Dominican, Honduras, Cuba, and rum is probably 90% of spirits that I drink are rum.
Sure.
Sweet. I'm so good at drinking rum that I'm a diabetic now. So I'm a professional.
A professional.
And what I love about this is that there's a sweetness, but it's not like rum where it's overpowering
Mhm.
sometimes. This has got to go really well with a cigar. And what is your guys' background as far as spirits? What are you drinking? No camera. You're at home. You're on your patio. What are you guys pouring? Bourbon.
I was a beer guy forever,
Okay.
and that's where and Heath, who's our other of our panel,
Mhm.
he's a bourbon guy, so he started getting me into this. That's when we decided to do this channel, right? I mean, it's kind of a family affair of Derek's family, but I mean, behind Nick, say hello. You got a microphone, Nick.
Yeah,
so-
I'm just muted.
Yeah.
So Nick is my son. He's my oldest
Nick,
son,
how you doing, Nick, son?
and Brenna is his wife.
Brenna, pleasure
So
to meet you.
it's a family affair. Brenna does all of our social media. Nick does what you're looking at.
Everything else, yeah.
And we were just sitting in the room, and I was getting into bourbon. I maybe had like 8 bottles, and they were probably the same thing.
Mhm.
And I thought I was a professional. Yeah, my basement looks a little bit different
A
now.
little different now.
And then when I fly around the country and I hang out with some of these guys, there's every bottle that's
Yes.
known to man, and
Right.
they all have great palates, and they help us out. We had a lot of them up here. We had an event here, a
Yep.
bottle share.
That's awesome.
There were like 129 bottles of open stuff that you're never going to find sitting here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now, get away from the beer because when I think the camera adds 150 pounds. That's what I'm gonna claim. But
I can see your ribs. I mean, you look skinny. To me.
yeah, you're lying. So it was so that's when I went to this, right? I mean, I'm diabetic.
Me too.
So do you know that bourbon will not impact your blood sugar?
That I did not know.
So there's been nights where we drink a lot of bourbon, and I have a monitor. A monitor on my arm.
Yep.
And it stayed at like
Steady.
it stayed like 90 to 100 the entire time. So yeah, bourbon will not impact your. I don't
Rum's
know
a
if
little
it's
different.
across.
Rum's a little
Oh,
different.
absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So I started on rum. I started.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of what I drank. I always had a few different rums at the house. I was never really into it, but if I was going to have a drink on the patio or whatever, it was almost always rum. I like the Florida Cana stuff, but I really didn't know what I liked. I really wasn't that into it. But it ended up being rum most of the time. And as I got into cigars, my palate sort of changed. I started like a lot of people in cigars. I started on flavored and sweet tip cigars.
Yep.
And then one day I woke up and was like, "Whoa, that is too sweet, way too sweet."
Yeah.
And now a lot of times, even with rum, I have there are some rums that I really love still. Diplomatico is probably my go-to.
That's my go-to.
But a lot of the rums are just so sweet.
Yeah, you've got to find ones that have no additives.
Right.
That's the problem in the rum world, unlike the bourbon world, which has very strict guidelines.
Right.
It's funny if any of your watchers ever get a chance to go to the Caribbean and they tour a rum factory or a distillery, they'll see bourbon barrels just stacked to the ceiling because in Kentucky, making bourbon, you can only use that barrel
one time.
And a lot of those barrels end up in not only in Europe, but they end up in the Caribbean. But what I have as a big rum connoisseur, I've avoided now the ones with a lot of additives, vanilla and more sugar. And Florida Cana is a great one that doesn't have the additives. And I'm with you. Like some of them are just too sweet.
Right.
And I think that comes with age too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where our palate changes and we don't want uber sweet. And like this to me is perfect.
Yeah.
This has just a subtle hint of sweetness that I'm really enjoying. And not not overt. You can still enjoy all the other flavors to it. So you eventually transitioned over to bourbon.
Yeah. Yep. And,
Yeah, I mean,
I've gotten even more into it since meeting Mike and Heath and the team here at Bourbon Bros. I was doing an event here at the cigar shop at Ash Anvil with a local distiller.
Jay Rieger.
Riegers, right? And I had gotten a used barrel of theirs. We did a barrel pick with the Whiskey Guild, which I wasn't a part of the barrel pick, but we had some of that here. And we did a flight of their whiskeys, and then I took in that barrel, I put in blank cigars. I bought some blank cigars, put those in there and aged them in the barrel for about 2 months, and it turned out really cool. But that's where I met Mike and the rest of the Bourbon Bros team.
That's when we started that. Yeah. So again, like we said, doing bourbon and cigars, I think it adds a little complexity to our videos. It's not just we're not just drinking bourbon, right?
And I think what is beautiful is they talk about apple pie being very American. You know what I mean? But the truth is that tobacco in bourbon is very American.
Very American.
Bourbon, corn based.
Yep.
That corn is native to the Americas.
Yep.
Tobacco is native to the Americas. Europeans didn't see tobacco until 1492.
Right.
And so you don't get more American than sipping on some bourbon and smoking a cigar. Those are two distinctly American products. And we're celebrating our 250th anniversary of our country. And what better way than picking up a cigar and having some bourbon and celebrating two things that are native to this country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's very good. So we see here my wife and my son join at the bottom. So they're out eating sushi.
Not very American.
Yeah. Well, the California roll, I guess.
California roll. So yeah. So now you've basically almost met my entire family
I-
just right, just right on here. So
I'm waiting on my Christmas card.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm
So
getting to know you, brother.
and we'll throw out a name, Emily. Woohoo! So yeah, but we're yeah, we're having a good time. We again, family affair, kind of what we've grown this. So let's see what's next. So hey, Derek. So
Yeah.
why don't you talk
about this
about
weekend?
what's going on this week? Because up here a little farther, Frankie said, this weekend is the All-Star game of
It is. It's,
cigars. Right?
so I'm hosting our first annual cigar festival this weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so it'll be my first time doing a multi-vendor event here at the store.
Very nice.
So Drew Estate, Espinosa, Luciano, United Cigar, Toscano Cigar, and Imami Cigars will all be here.
Big fan of Espinosa.
Yep.
Huge fan of
Me
Espinosa.
too. In fact, we are at a branded Espinosa lounge.
Very nice.
So I'm also a big fan of Espinosa. And so yeah, they're all going to be here. We're not going to have, well, I guess we'll have the principal of Imami because it is Amin Imami. He lives here.
That's a local brand, right?
That's a
Yeah,
local
I've heard
brand.
about it. Very
They're-
nice. Very
They're
nice.
Killing it. He's killing it.
That's awesome.
And so to start the weekend off, this Friday, the night before, the big multi-vendor event, I've got a private, it's a ticketed cigar and whiskey dinner with Espinosa Cigars. So, the people that come in, they're going to get barbecue. We're getting 3 different knuckle sandwich cigars
Beautiful.
from Guy Fieri. And then I have a guest speaker, Toby Kurtzinger. And this is the guy who was the fall guy for the Pappygate scandal.
Oh, wow.
So
You heard of that?
Yes.
yep,
Yes.
So it was,
Yes.
a big bourbon heist, and they were bootlegging barrels and bottles of Pappy Van Winkle.
23.
Yep.
The 23 year.
23 year.
Out of the distillery, out of the Buffalo Trace distillery, and then selling it on the black market. And they got busted, as things happen. Got busted, and he was the fall guy. So he was the guy that went down for it.
And he's going to come talk.
Yeah, so
He's going to be sitting on. We'll have a table here with a little bit bigger panel, but yeah, he's going to be.
Yep.
So he's coming again for the event here, but we are going to go. The event starts at 7.
Yep.
In the cigar lounge, but we're going to go live on our YouTube channel with him at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yep.
We'll have good conversation, and we're going to stay live during the event
Nice.
because he's going to talk about it. He'll ask questions, and people who are on here, they can even ask him questions over the chat.
To me,
Even
that
during-
is interesting, man.
Yeah.
That guy's probably got some great stories to share.
Yeah, I mean,
Really
Yeah.
incredible stories.
he's excited to tell it. And so he'll be here telling his side of the story. And I'm excited about that. So we're going to have a flight of whiskey, and I've got some cool stuff. Maybe not on the national scale. It's not that exciting of stuff, but here in Kansas, Eagle Rare is one of them.
Oh, Eagle Rare.
You
Yep.
can't find Eagle Rare in Kansas. It doesn't really exist.
the next one is what I'm really
Stag.
Stag.
Yep,
We're going to
I
have
got
Stag.
and then we'll have a third one as well, a third whiskey there on the flight. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I travel the whole country. I've been in the business for 25 years, been a cigar smoker for 30 years. And I will tell you, between Stag and Angel's Envy,
Mm.
those 2 bourbons are the ones I see most often in cigar shops.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 bourbons.
Hmm.
And I would say probably over the last 5 years, barrel picks are really where everyone's going
Yeah.
now. So when I go to a place and they have their bourbon group come to a cigar event, maybe I'm hosting, like you said, there's 50 to 100 bottles there, and there's so much great stuff to taste. And just like the cigar world, there is so much to explore.
Yeah.
Bourbon is, you go down that rabbit hole, man. There is a wealth of information and things to try. And when you fall in love with something, you want to share it with someone. Much like a cigar, you're like,
Right.
I want you to try this, and that's awesome. And this is a great place.
Yeah.
A cigar lounge is the place to meet, greet, introduce people to cigars you love or bourbon you love. And I mean, you've created, any of you guys that own cigar shops around the country, I always tell you, you may not realize, but how incredible of a place you've built
Thank you.
for people to come together, unite, enjoy each other's company over great drink, over great cigars. I mean, this is what it's meant to be.
Yeah. When I set out, I started smoking cigars in June-ish of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And in October of 2019, I decided to quit my job and open a cigar lounge.
Go full
So
time.
I went all in.
You jumped all in.
All in.
Deep
Now,
end of the pool.
It took me a couple of years. I didn't quit my job right away. So it took me a little bit of time to get, the building and get all the renovation done and stuff. But I went all in real early. And one of the things that I really wanted to create, and I've told this story on here before, and I've talked about it in the shop a lot. There used to be a bar across the street in the town we're in, Gardner. It was called BJ's Oasis, and it was a dive bar. I was actually too young. I don't think I ever even stepped foot in the door, but I heard the stories. It was next to City Hall. That's where you had the mayor and the police chief, and you had the garbage truck drivers, and it was, my dad called it Gardner's watering hole.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to create here, is Gardner's watering hole. The place where you come together, and this is the community, and this is where we build the community. I think we've done a good job at it. So.
Well, look, your space is amazing. This is the first time I've been able to visit you here, and I got to tell you, the space is amazing. Your humidor is incredible.
Thank you.
And I love this. In the cigar industry, the cigar industry has been around a long time, right? Cigars have not changed much since 1492, and the industry as a whole really is about coming together and smoking and enjoying company.
Right.
And when you build a place like this is where those kind of things thrive. Relationships, people meet. I mean, I meet people at cigar shops, and they'll say, hey, my lawyer, I met him here. The guy who had a leaky faucet, this guy, a guy who cuts my lawn, I met him at a cigar shop over some bourbon and cigars. That to me is what cigar community is all about.
Yes,
absolutely.
When you build a place like this, if from people that are on the outside looking in, they probably go, what are those people doing there?
That's right.
What are they doing?
Right.
They don't understand
Nope.
this. And
Camaraderie.
It's like Cheers on another level.
Yes. Yeah. And
And we even talk about a family affair, right? You see behind us there?
yeah, my mother just walked in the
So his mom just walked in, right?
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
So
yeah.
Okay, so Friday night is my cigar and whiskey dinner, kicking off the weekend. Saturday, I've got the multi-vendor cigar event.
Very nice.
I've got a handful of different distilleries coming out here to sample stuff, and we're gonna have some great drinks at the bar. Live music starts at 1 with Hunter Crane. He's gonna play for a while, and then Beth Lee is gonna come in. She's coming up from Texas to play again.
Oh, nice.
And then at 5:30, we're shutting the music off, and Banished KC is going to be here. Now, they're setting up a ring. It's UFC, like MMA style fighting.
Wow.
But they're wearing medieval suits of armor with battle axes and swords, real battle axes.
Wow.
And real swords.
No, none of this WWE fake
it's,
stuff.
Wow.
It's not. They're
It's
trying to
real.
hurt each other. Yeah, they're trying to hurt each other. So
Where are you doing this at?
out back on my patio.
Okay.
Yep.
So the lockers and glass are all safe.
Yeah. So
If there's an archer there, I'm going to put my money on the archer.
it's going to be so cool. It's going to be something that has never happened around
Dude,
here.
that is awesome, man.
And then we're ending the night.
More?
One of my great friends,
Little more. Just
Justin White, and his band are finishing the night off.
That's good.
And we're going to have a great night. Cigar dinner
One to
all
remember.
day long. Yes. Yep. So.
And what we're going to do is we're going to set up. We're figuring out our setup with Derek wherever the ring is. We're actually going on Bourbon Bros KC. We're going live during the fights.
There's going to be like 3-on-3, 5-on-5. Melee
Oh yeah,
rounds.
so we're gonna go live. So all of you guys, it's at 5:30 Central. You got to join in because we're gonna go live, and you know what? After a couple guys get drug out of the ring because they're half dying, we maybe even do some interviews. How did that feel?
Well, when they came in and I first met with this group, they brought one of the helmets, right? It looks like what you'd see a knight wearing,
Yeah.
And I got to put it on, and I'm holding one of the swords. It's blunt, but it's a real sword.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a real sword. And I'm holding it, and I take a couple pictures, and the guy's like, "Do you want me to hit you with a sword?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do." So he takes it, whack, right across the top of my head, and that was pretty cool. I got.
He hasn't recovered.
He hasn't recovered yet.
No.
Yeah.
I'm.
You're in a coma. This is all a dream, by the way.
Yes. No, it's going to be a great event. So.
Sounds epic.
Yeah.
Sounds epic. Man.
We can't wait, right? I mean, that's 2 days of just banger. This is the place to be, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm trying to do for the first, I've been open almost 4 years now in the cigar lounge, and my first 3 years I did a lot of events, probably too many events, but they were sales events, right?
Yeah,
It was
guy
what you
standing
see.
behind the table, buy
Yeah.
3 get 1. Yeah, yeah.
It's what you see when you go into a cigar lounge and you see events happening, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I like the cut and light format where you come in and you got some deals and you load up your humidor. You smoke with whoever may be the rep or the principal or whoever may be behind the counter.
Yep.
But I've decided that's not really, to me, that's not an event. That's a sale.
That's a selling event, right? Right.
So this year I'm trying to slow it down, less events, but go big, right?
Quality over quantity.
Correct.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think what you create is memories.
Right.
And people, there's always other cigar shops in town, but you want your customer, when he's asked, why do you go to that shop? Well, I go to that shop because
Right.
I've created some great memories there. I've had a great time there. When they do events, they're real events.
Right.
And that's what guys remember. We at Crowned Heads, we're always trying to do a spin, because I think the days of standing behind a table, buy 3 get 1 free, those are all right once in a while. You know what I
they're
mean?
fine.
Someone looking for a deal. But when you can really create an event with substance, with knowledge, and always a good deal on cigars or whatever, I think that is what really binds the community together.
Yes.
But I think you have to, start out with a great shop, with a shop that has good hospitality. Obviously, you check all those marks, and those are the shops that we see thrive and become part of the fabric of the premium cigar industry.
Yeah.
There are shops that have been around for 2 years, they go out of business. There are shops that have been around 50 years, they're in business. Why? Because they build the community.
Right.
And people want to be there. People want to be seen there and support you.
Right.
And by doing these kind of events, that's what it's all about.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah. Welcome in, John.
It's building the community, and it's building, that sense of belonging, and excitement where you want to be there. And I've sat in a lot of cigar lounges, and I've sat in some really great cigar lounges across the country. And then I've sat in some that they were fine, but they were missing something. And I come from an education background. I was a high school teacher. And a science teacher at that. So, I come at it from a different point of view, and when I was getting started, I'm going to cigar lounges all over the Midwest, and everywhere I'd go, every trip I'd go on, I'd go sit in cigar lounges before I opened. And I would take notes, like what I like, what I don't like, what kind of artwork's on the wall, what's the lighting like, what's the, what kind of product mix do they have, and how many people are coming in, and just taking notes on everything and sort of building my vision. I'm pretty proud to say we've done a good job. I'm one of a handful of owners here, but it's myself, my parents, my brother, my sister,
Family
my uncle.
affair.
Yeah, it's
True
all
family affair.
It's all family, and
well, that's very that goes along with a lot of cigar companies that you have in that humidor.
Right.
A lot of them are family, and
Yeah,
this is
of
a
course.
family shop.
Right.
And we lose a little bit of that sometime in this big corporate world that we live in. That when you're able to work with family, we're able to create a business that's based on family, and then you have cigar brands that are family owned. That's I mean, that's pride. That is what it's all about.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you've done a hell of a job here, man. And
Thank
kudos to you and your team. And now as a science teacher, does your brain work in a sense where you smoke cigars, drink whiskey, and you think of it in a scientific angle? Like, do you think of because a lot of people, I knew a guy that had a winery,
Mhm.
and I remember going into it looked like a chemistry set that he
Mhm.
had set up, and I didn't realize how much of that went into winemaking. He had the little things, see the sugar, and
Mhm.
does your
bricks
brain
and-
work that way, where you're
Yeah.
smoking a cigar, maybe you're like, maybe the magnesium or the calcium or in the
So I
soil.
taught Earth and space science, so geology, astronomy, and
Even more.
meteorology. So, a lot of what I would teach, and a lot of what I learned while I was going to school, and what I would have in my class was, soil composition and weather patterns.
That is the cigar industry.
And we're talking about Nicaragua, where a lot of your stuff is made, right? And you're talking about the volcanic soil, the magnesium that comes out of the volcanoes and is washed down into the valleys. And then you're talking about the weather patterns, and Ecuador with the more cloudy days, and it produces a different it expresses itself differently in the tobacco. And then you go into the DR, where it's it's a different set of soil and weather conditions, and it presents itself another way. I like Cuban tobacco, but it's just it's a different set of growing conditions, and
1,000%.
and that's what really, there's different types of tobacco, sure, but so much of it is influenced. That soil and that weather is expressed in the smoke and in the taste.
1,000%. I always tell people, like, when one of the biggest regions in Nicaragua is Jalapa.
Right.
And Jalapa's in this valley, and it's surrounded by mountains, and they're growing coffee at the top of these mountains, and all that runoff from the soil and the nutrients they're feeding the coffee goes into the field, and it feeds into where the tobacco is being grown, and it all has a huge effect, the terroir, on what you're smoking. You could grow the same seed strain in the Dominican as you do in Nicaragua, and yet you could get two completely different tasting tobaccos.
Right.
And of course, I'm not as well versed on spirits, but in the tobacco business, a lot of people think of the fat cat lawyer smoking cigars or whatever. The truth is, our industry is an agricultural industry. These are farmers. These are the blue collar farmers that are working the land. And that has so much into what you smoke. When you're smoking a cigar, I tell people, you may cut a cigar, you may smoke, and you may not even think about it. But once in a while, you cut and light your cigar, think about the people that are planting the seeds, that are harvesting it, that are hanging it in the curing barns, separating it, putting it in the fermentation room, putting it in the bales to age. All of that goes into a cigar. There's so much that goes into a cigar before, and most people just see the rollers, right? They'll go on YouTube, they'll see a roller or whatever. That's like the last step.
Right.
There's 1,000 steps before that, and you were mentioning your background. I think maybe you, more than anybody, can appreciate the work that has to go into the soil before the plant is even planted, and what you get out of it. And much like a great chef, all three of us could be handed the same 20 ingredients and make 3 completely different meals. Tobacco is the exact same way. So that's awesome, man.
And bourbon's kind of the same way, right? Well, we can jump into what we did last week, right? We went down to Kentucky. We were going down there to try 20 barrel samples from one of our great friends from Gunners. They're a distillery here in Kansas. They're down in Wichita, Kansas, and they have some barrels down there. And like, hey, let's go down. They even asked, let's go down and figure out what we got, right?
Right.
But we hit a couple other
distilleries down.
Yeah. Well, we ended up doing a barrel pick with Heaven Hill.
Yep.
Love Heaven Hill.
And you talked about, they took us in. So we got there. They took us into one of their largest rick houses, and literally, how many? You counted, Derek? How many high? Like
it was 21 rows high was the rick house, so 21 barrels high.
Wow.
50 wide. And it was
far
more
as you
than
could
30
see.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't count that far.
So, just like you talking about where the tobacco is growing in the valley, the same thing happens with the barrels where they're sitting in the rick house, right?
Yeah.
You're getting a little more heat up top. You're getting less heat on the bottom.
Yep. Heat rises.
So every barrel is going to be a little bit different.
Yep.
You got your temperature adjustments inside, outside. It's
charring the barrel,
how they char it,
charring it, depending on what guy thinks it's enough, what isn't enough. Yeah, that's I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head. I don't. The bourbon world very similar. I think of the rum world, and it is that plays a big part of it. Take Zacapa for example. The rum is distilled at sea level, but they take it up in the mountains to age. So you lose a lot less to the angel share because it's so much cooler.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's very interesting how all of it comes together.
I had some. How do you say it?
Zacapa.
Zacapa. Okay.
From Guatemala.
Yeah. I actually sampled some yesterday.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Zacapa.
It was great.
Diplomatico. Yeah. Flor de Caña.
I hadn't had it before, but I had it yesterday, and I had. That was.
I think bourbon fans. There are so many of those guys that cross over in the cigar world because you can appreciate the craftsmanship. And that's a word I don't think is used much today because our phones are computers, our cars are computers. You probably remember the time where you could pop your car and work on the engine. Now you need a
computer.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
But cigars and bourbon, it is what it is. And it's Mother Nature, and you enjoy it. And it kind of brings you back to a time where a different country, a different world, and to me, it's almost like a time machine. You know,
Yeah.
you're sipping on a really good bourbon. It could be 10, 15, 20 years old, and you think about, where was I at when this bourbon was put into
Was
its
put
barrel?
into the
What
barrel,
was
right? I was a
doing?
kid or something, right?
Yeah, I
Well,
smoked a cigar. We have a cigar that we rolled in 2018, and I took a few up to Canada. I recently came back from Canada doing some events up there, and I gave the cigar out to the small group, and I said, this cigar was rolled in 2015. The tobacco was already 2 to 5 years of age before we rolled it. What were you doing in 2015? And then it got people thinking. It said, this cigar has been sitting all together.
Right.
And that cigar, unlike being in bales and then rolled, this cigar was already rolled. So all the oils from the filler, the binder, the wrapper have all married
Yes.
together. And it's hard to find a cigar on the shelf like that, right? So it's very special. And same thing with bourbon. When you look at how old the bourbon is, you think about, what were you doing at that time? You can't rush it. You
No.
cannot rush it. And in a world of, I want things now, I'm hurry, get it done.
Right.
Bourbon and cigars cause you to kind of reflect on taking your time and
Right.
enjoying something that a lot of work, a lot of time
Oh.
put into.
So when we first got started in this,
Mm.
I'm still a fairly new cigar smoker. So when I first got into it, I'm reading every blog and I'm
Mhm.
reading every magazine, Cigar Journal and Cigar Snob and Cigar Aficionado, and I'm reading everything I can get my hands on. I'm
Yep,
smoking everything I can get my hands on. And I remember there was an ad. I think it was a JC Newman ad in Cigar Aficionado, and it was like from the perspective of the person sitting at the beach with their feet up in a hammock
Yeah.
and a cigar in their hand. It said, welcome to your 1 hour vacation.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that really stuck with me. Like, it just caused you to
Yeah.
slow down and,
Yeah.
and appreciate it. And you're paying attention to this cigar and you're paying attention to the conversation and you're paying attention, if you're pairing it with something, it could be your whiskey or whatever, but you're slowing down.
Yep.
And I'm on the go all the time. I'm a business
Yep.
owner. I own,
Yep.
2 bars and a cigar lounge. So I'm going all the time.
Yeah.
And smoking a cigar is just an isolated, like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to smoke this and enjoy it for what it is.
At the trade show, we'll get to the booth early just so we can really sit down and enjoy a cigar, because during the trade show, we're so
There's
busy.
no enjoying cigars.
Right.
You're just going through the motions,
Right.
right? I may smoke 15 cigars that day,
Right.
but I really enjoyed maybe 2 out of those 15.
Right. Right.
And so sometimes we get to just because we want that hour-long vacation, and it definitely makes you kind of sit back and go, yeah, this is what it's about. This is what it's about.
I will say, you finished yours, but this cigar took any heat off
It
the
did.
bourbon.
I
It
think
took
it mellowed
any
it.
heat. It mellowed it out.
I would agree.
But you're still getting the complexity. You're still getting the flavors.
Yep.
But any of that spice you were picking up before,
Yeah.
it's just gone. And the cigar, of course, this is a wonderful cigar.
Thank you.
This is a wonderful cigar.
We're very proud of this cigar. Jericho Hill, it got its name from a Johnny Cash song,
Right.
Cocaine Blues. And in that, do you know the story? So in the song, the character in the song shoots his old woman down in a town called Jericho Hill, and the police are after. So we named this after a fictitious town in a Johnny Cash song. And we have another cigar called Juarez, because at the end of the song, the criminal gets ran down in Jericho Hill. It gets ran down in Juarez, Mexico.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's kind of our ode to Johnny Cash. We're based in Nashville, not in Florida like most cigar companies. We've been in Nashville since 1968, and obviously it's a big whiskey area as well. And so this cigar, to me, is a very special cigar. I love Mexican San Andreas. The San Andreas Mountains produce some of this great tobacco, and I give a lot of credit to Eric Espinosa, who you're going to have here at your multi-vendor, the Espinosa brand, that a lot of people back in the day would use Mexican San Andreas. They wouldn't admit that they were using it.
Yeah.
They called it something different because no one wanted to smoke Mexican tobacco. It had a kind of a negative connotation for years.
Yeah.
And I remember when Eric, this is a long time ago, when he first came out with the Murcielago, and he touted it. I'm using Mexican San Andreas. And now it's very common. Pete Johnson, Tatuaje, us, Crowned Heads, Espinosa,
Right.
we're all very proud to use Mexican San Andreas. And I think when you smoke a cigar with a great San Andreas, you can understand. I can't
Well,
believe for so many years people didn't talk about it.
I think Steve Saka was the one that kind of coined the term San Andreas, and that was kind of the turning point for Mexican tobacco, to turn from something that had this negative connotation
Yeah.
into something that was not only a a common ingredient, but something that people were proud to name.
Proud
It's-
to
it's-
use and advertise.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you kind of see that change.
And it pairs up really great with Nicaraguan tobacco.
does.
The Garcias do a great job on this cigar. You know, part of when we created this cigar, part of the idea was kind of an ode to Padron. It was a cigar we grew up smoking Padron. We love Padron, and so it was kind of our ode to Padron, saying, "Hey, we're going to make a cigar that kind of reminds us of that." And that was kind of our ode. That's
Yeah.
where Jericho Hill kind of came from.
Nice. Well, you guys have some new stuff coming out here soon.
We do. We have 2 new cigars coming out next month. We have a new cigar called Maracana on the Oz family cigar brand. Maracana to me is very special because it's our first cigar made at the Honduran factory of Don Pepin from my father. They just recently opened that factory up. And it's the first time also that the Garcias have ever utilized Brazilian tobacco. So it's a first in many ways. I think people are really going to love that cigar. And then on the Crown Head side, we have a new cigar called Moonflower. Those are the tattoos that John has on his hands. It reminds him of his wife. And Moonflower is a Nicaraguan puro, filler, binder, wrapper, all grown on the Garcia farm, made at their Esteli, Nicaragua factory. And what I love is smoking Nicaraguan cigars and drinking like Flor de Caña rum, a Nicaraguan rum with a Nicaraguan cigar.
Yeah.
You know, they share the same land. It's just perfect.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I will say, I'll go back a couple times. So we got Jaime on here. He said subscribe and like. You know, he's our biggest fan of subscribe and like. You started a Johnny Cash theme on here, right? Jerry, you see Jerry up there. Been to Juarez, Mexico. He lives right down in there.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I will say, and Moses, thanks for joining. Jerry, we got a lot of guys on here, right? So
Frankie Bourbon 32, love Johnny Cash. We love Johnny Cash too. If you ever are in Nashville and you visit our headquarters, the first thing you see when you walk in is a big picture of Johnny Cash.
Nice.
So I will say this: there's some guys on here. They're going to be in Nashville for an event, and there's about 3 or 4 of them on here. And where are you at then?
There's a lot of great shops in Nashville. I would tell everyone there's so many great cigar bars and lounges that you can visit in Nashville. It's a great town. I mean, it's crazy. Now Nashville hosts more bachelorette and bachelor
Oh yeah, for sure.
parties than Vegas, believe it or not. It's
Yeah.
crazy. The city has changed so much. We do have our headquarters down there, and I would tell everyone, look it up, find us on Google, call the office, and see if you can swing by for a visit.
Nice.
It's not open to the public,
I got
but
you.
when
Yeah.
we do get a chance, we like to invite someone in. You can't buy any cigars from us, but we'll smoke one with you.
Nice.
We'll give you a cigar,
So-
maybe a hat to take home.
Now you
You
got
guys
you.
have the best hats.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
There's about 4 of them that are on here right now that are talking about. See, they'll be there on the 12th, right? So they're going to be there. So we'll make sure I'll get them information, and maybe they can reach out, and
Yeah.
maybe I don't know if you're not in Nashville, right? You're in
I
Florida.
don't. Well, I live on a plane, really, but my house is in South Florida.
Yeah,
They've always
so-
got to try to get me to move to Nashville. I wouldn't mind living in Nashville, but my wife, she has this thing about palm trees. She's from the Caribbean.
I
They
understand
have no
that.
palm trees in Nashville, believe
Yeah.
it or not. I've looked. No palm
So,
trees.
but I will tell you, all these guys on here have this bottle,
Yep.
1 or 2 or more.
Yep.
This cigar with this
It's great.
is super good.
Yeah.
So, so you guys, when you're here, Frankie, when you're here this weekend, maybe we should we'll take care of you, Frankie. We
Yep.
got you. All right.
Yep.
We got you. So, I'll get the information to you guys for sure. So,
This is awesome.
Thank you.
this
You
is
guys are awesome.
we got some great guys on here. So maybe maybe they can reach out, right?
Mhm.
And again, they have this bottle. So this is a great pairing.
It's a really great pairing, and you know, we didn't plan this, you know.
At all.
but-
This is zero plan.
Yeah, zero planning. Thank you guys for welcoming me on.
No,
your
thank
show.
you.
I will tell you, when you hit a great pairing,
Oh,
it's an awesome experience.
is.
When you hit the right pairing, because not everything always pairs up perfect together. This was actually a really good pairing,
This is a good one.
and I agree with you. When I started smoking and drinking, that little bit of burn was gone,
gone. Completely
completely
gone.
gone.
But the complexity was still there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And actually, I think I could taste the bourbon even better. Like
Absolutely.
clear. Like it almost like
Opens it up.
yeah, like opens it up like in stereo. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll make sure you know, the only problem with this, with you showing up here and us doing this, is now I'm gonna have to go spend some money.
There you go.
So
Oh man, I feel
we
so
love
bad.
that.
I feel so
I
bad.
love that.
Yeah. So No, this is yeah.
Well, I
this is
appreciate you guys. You
fantastic.
guys have Broadway on the shelf. You have our La Imperiosa. La Imperiosa is another cigar made for us by Don Pepin,
Mhm.
Ecuador Oscuro wrapper, Nicaraguan. That's on your shelf. Like that, I think would do really well with this
Yes.
cigar, with this bourbon as well.
Yep.
There's so many great pairings, so many things to discover out there.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I have to go back. You mentioned something a few minutes ago. When did Crown Head start?
So Crown Head started in 2011,
2011.
but we used to own CAO.
Okay.
So CAO.
Oh, really?
Yeah, CAO Pipe Company started in 1968 in
That's
Nashville,
what I thought you had
Tennessee.
said was 1968. I was like, holy cow.
So we owned CAO in 1968 all the way. We sold it in 2007 to STG, Scandinavian Tobacco Group. But they didn't own any premium cigars at the time. They only owned these little Cafe Creme, these little cigarillos. They sold 1 billion of them in Europe. I mean, these things are very popular. A lot of French cafes you see them smoking. Those are little cigars. And they bought us. They wanted to get into the American market with the Cafe Creme. So 2007, they bought us. Nothing changed. And in 2011, they bought Swedish Match, who owned General Cigar and CI and all that kind of stuff. And they merged the companies. When they merged the companies, we ourselves had to make a decision. Do we continue on with the company? They were going to move a headquarters from Nashville to Richmond, Virginia. And we were very much Nashville guys. So we handed the company over in 2010. And then 2011, we founded Crowned Heads.
Nice.
And through that, Mike Conder, John Huber, Tim Osgener were the founders. Osgener, CAO, that's the O in CAO. Those were initials of Tim's father. Tim was the CEO of the company. And so we just started to start a new brand in 2011 instead of, we handed it over and said, now you run with that brand and we're going to start something new. So our roots go back to 1968.
Wow.
But as far as Crown Heads, 2011.
Nice. Nice.
Hey, Brandon, any way you can put a link on there for Crowned Heads? Crowned Heads?
Well, our Instagram is the Crowned Heads.
Oh,
Nice. Thank you.
They already put it. They're way ahead of me.
They are professionals.
They're on it.
They are professionals. Sorry, I missed it.
I think, a lot of us in the industry, and it may sound strange, like, man, you sold a company, you guys came right back in, but that's pretty normal. I mean, look at Christian Aurora. He used to own Camacho, sold it to Davidoff, worked it a few years, came back with CLE and Asylum.
Yep.
You take Ernesto Perez Carrillo, who owned La Gloria Cubana, sold it in the 90s, run that brand with General for all those years, and then broke off on his own and started Casa Carrillo with his kids.
Yep.
Once you're in the business, it is hard to get out.
Yeah,
it is in your blood. It is in who you are, in your DNA. And I've been blessed. I've been smoking for 30 years, been in the industry 25 years. And you're just, there's a joy that I still to this day get opening a box of cigars, sharing a cigar with somebody. There's still that joy that you get. And there's always new people coming in, and you want them to have the great experience that you have and expose them to the culture.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, look, cigars are not addictive, right? We're not inhaling.
Right.
But what is addictive is the culture.
Yes.
Once you get in and you start making friends and you start bonding over bourbon and cigars, and that's what's addicting about the cigar culture. It is the people you meet, you get addicted to. That is the culture.
I made a good friend early on when we first opened who was really into cigars, and then for health reasons had to give it up. And he is in here a couple times a week. He's part of the family. He doesn't even smoke cigars.
Yeah.
He comes in, cup of coffee, whatever, and hangs out. And
the aroma.
Part of the family.
Yeah.
And once you're in, you're in. And it's just a great industry to be in. So
it is. It is.
Yeah. Well, talk about what we're doing next week.
So next week we are going to be. I don't know where we're going to be. We haven't. I think we're at the lower level. That's another place we film, right? So the lower level is actually my basement. So we've created a little bit of a
nice,
like a studio.
It's like a studio.
Studio 2.
Yeah.
Studio 2.
Studio B.
Yeah. So we love being here, but we'll do it there sometimes. But we are going to be pairing. No, we're not. We're not going to be pairing anything. We are going to be blinding state picks, state and store picks. So we have a different array of state and store picks that we have in our inventory.
Yep.
And we're going to be blinding them to just, what's the best one. I mean, we made it. I think what we should do, and we can talk about this. Yeah, we always, anytime I say something like this, in the background, they're going, oh, what's he doing now, right? Maybe we throw a non-state state or store pick in, right, to see if it's different than a store pick, right? Because the
I
store
like
pick
that.
obviously is a single barrel,
Call that a
right?
curveball.
And it's exactly, it's going to be that single barrel, but maybe put a small batch in there or something, right? And see if you can find, that is the single barrel really better than, someone who goes and
blended
picks
or something.
goes and picks a store pick that a single barrel, right? So just put that in the notes. I see the look I get. So, but I think that's kind of a good idea. But
Yeah,
we
that's
blind
pretty
it,
fun.
so we'll be
I
blind
think
in that,
that's
right?
awesome, right? You could have like 5 bourbons. I don't know if this is what you guys are doing, but you have like 5 bourbons. You don't say what they are. Kind of give tasting notes or what you like best to least. And what I love is someone may find a new favorite
Right.
that they don't know, because when you're blind,
Yeah.
that to me is just like tobacco. This happened to me with Ernesto Perez Carrillo. I went to his factory and we did this 3-day tasting of tobacco. And I would have told you, Nicaraguan's my favorite tobacco, right? I love Esteli. I love Habano seed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you said to me, Miguel, what's your least favorite? I would have said Dominican Piloto Cuban. Oh, no, Dominican Olor. Probably not my favorite tobacco. We did a blind tasting over 3 days, 30 different tobaccos. He would only tell us it was Seco, Viso, or Lajero.
Okay.
We had to rank them from favorite to least. And my favorite was Dominican Olor.
Wow.
Even after 30 years of smoking, you can still learn something new.
Yeah.
And when you're blind,
Absolutely.
you may say, I don't think I would like that bourbon. And then you have them taste blind, you go, son of a gun, that's my
That's
favorite
right.
one.
Yep.
That to me is a lot of fun. That's a great,
And
that's great.
it
And then throw a
takes-
curveball in, it's
Absolutely.
even more fun, you know?
So last week we did our live, and it was actually Ken, our social media director,
Who doesn't really smoke? Or
who
doesn't
doesn't
really
drink or smoke, select a good flight, right?
Okay.
So Brenna did it. She went into my basement, pulled bottles, and then we sat here, and we didn't know. We usually when you do a blind, you know the 5 bottles, right? So
Yeah.
you're kind of. We didn't even know the bottles.
Wow.
We didn't know the bottles. We didn't know what we were drinking.
That's awesome.
And there was one in there that I absolutely hate. The good thing is, I still hated it in the blind, right? So
Well, you know that it's real.
that's
Yeah,
right.
it's
It,
real.
was-
You know
it was
it's
it was
real.
absolutely real. So it was that was a good time. It was a good one. And I will tell you this, she picked a great flight.
That's awesome.
Now my wife picked one of the bottles. She killed the flight.
Yeah.
So, but no,
She's probably good at picking sushi rolls.
that's well, you know what? It's called the California roll.
There you go, man.
So
There you go.
no, it was good. So these, yeah. But that's what we're doing next week. So we're going to be in the lower level. We're going to be doing that. But no, so this has been a great episode. I mean, we kind of knew what we were going to be talking about, but you come. I mean, you literally 3 minutes before walked in the door and introduced yourself.
I walked in and said, "What is going on? Are we shooting a reality show?" here?"
Yeah. And
You know?
I looked at Nick and Brenda. I go, "Can we add a third chair?" And it's like, get out of the way, right?
Thank you, man. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
This is perfect. This worked
So-
out so well.
Let me tell you guys, in the industry, we have cigar makers, we have cigar consumers, we have growers, right? Everyone plays an integral part in this business. And cigar shop owners are super integral.
Mhm.
But as far as like this, streaming, podcasts, whatever we want to call it, is fairly new to our industry.
Yes.
And I will tell you, as a cigar brand, what you guys are doing here is absolutely amazing. This doesn't change, but the way we communicate to people that
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely.
The cigar industry has been around long before we were alive. It'll be hopefully around long after we're gone. And you think to yourselves, if you're in the industry, what can I do to give to the industry opposed to just taking? I tell people, if you're going to work in the industry, give more than you take
Yep.
from the industry. And what you guys are doing here, I cannot tell you how important this is, getting people together, using technology to bring great bourbon drinkers, scotch drinkers, rum drinkers, cigar smokers together. What you guys do, I think on behalf of the industry, I think we thank you guys for bringing the culture into the 21st century and connecting people this way. It's really amazing. We are but a blip on the screen of tobacco history.
Right.
And yet, when you do this, I think it is really incredible what you guys do. Take time out of your day to share your passion. And this is what it's all about. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
guys for what
Well,
you guys do.
we appreciate you coming in.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Thanks for
anything?
jumping in.
Yeah,
That was
jumping
cool.
in literally, right? And we appreciate you guys back there. accommodating, right?
Yep.
So it's sometimes the best thing happens on a whim, right? So this one actually did, and
Thank you,
it
guys.
could have been more perfect, right?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So Derek, you good?
I'm
You
good. I'm good.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yep.
We'll obviously we'll be here for a little bit. We'll have some conversation, but yeah, everybody, thank you for joining. I mean, it's definitely we couldn't be here without you guys. So just continue to push the channel, subscribe, like. I think everyone on here is subscribed, right? And they talk about it all the time. You know, I'll have conversations with these guys, and they're telling everybody, you know,
Yeah.
hey, go look at this podcast. It's awesome, right? So we're a growing channel. We're going to continue to grow, and you know, the reason we do is because of people like you.
Thank you.
No,
We're around because of people like you guys. So
for
thank
sure.
You guys.
So no,
And other people out there watching, you know, share the link, share the podcast with people, because you know, you'd be amazed at how many people still don't know that this kind of stuff is out there. All
Oh, I
this
know.
information. Share it with friends, share it with family, and someone you may make a big fan of somebody who's been waiting for this kind of content.
Yes.
You know?
no.
Yep.
So we appreciate you, everybody. Appreciate everybody joining tonight, and we will. Well, Friday, if you make any of them, 6 o'clock Friday, and then after that, because of Toby, and then you know, if you want to see guys beat the crap out of each other, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for that. So
It'll be a lot of fun.
yeah, we're gonna definitely have a great time this weekend.
Yes.
So
Yep.
well, as we always do, you know, remember, subscribe, like, and remember, it's just not about the pours, but the bond it creates. Happy pours.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.